My name is Olivia Lanes, and I am the North American team lead for Qiskit Education and Community here at IBM Quantum. And today I'm going to tell you about why my experience on the debate team in high school helped me get a job in quantum computing. More broadly, this video is actually about what we call quantum and non-quantum skills. Some people like to refer to these as soft skills. I just call them skills. But basically, if you look at some of the information that has been published in the past few years, like this graph right here, you can see that there are many different sorts of skills that companies are looking for when they hire somebody in quantum information, unsurprisingly. These skills can be sorted into what we might call quantum versus non-quantum skills. An example of a quantum skill might be a knowledge of quantum algorithm development. An example of a non-quantum skill would be things like being a good communicator, being a good writer, or even having strong programming experience, maybe in a language that's not quantum computing specific. So how do we gain these skills? If we're trying to do something that's so hard and so almost narrowly focused like quantum computing, how can we become broadly educated in all of these other subjects and skills as well? Well, I can tell you a little bit about my story. So in high school, I joined the debate team, kind of by accident. Me and my friend promised our parents that we would join a club to remain engaged and a good member of our school's community. And she thought we should join the debate team. And I said, no, that sounds really nerdy. But she said, no, we should do it. It'll be fun. So I went along with it. I was like, all right, fine. I have spoken a little bit about my experiences in the past at my first debate, but it went horrible. It was super embarrassing. I was a bad public speaker. I didn't know how to prepare. I didn't know how to think about the topic at hand, which I can still remember. It was about public funding for schools because of how traumatizing it was and how terrible I did. But I recuperated from that moment, and I got pretty good at public speaking over time. Not only did I become more comfortable in front of an audience and speaking to students and teachers alike, I became better at analyzing arguments. I became pretty well versed in reading an article and being able to pick out the pros and the cons and the things that were good to focus on and the things that I kind of wanted to steer away from because I knew that would hurt my argument. And these are analytical, logical skills that you can apply to any job that you have. And I'm not saying you need to go out and join the debate team, although I think it was really fun, and I ended up getting really pretty good at it. And I don't want to brag, but I was state ranked at one point.
Nice.
But anyway, you can get these skills through doing things that you think are fun and enjoyable and not necessarily career building. But it comes back to help you in surprising ways in the future. And now I get to do things like this for my job, for my everyday life that involve talking to the public and interacting with students and teachers and forming logical arguments and using my analytical skills to craft solutions to problems that I never thought I would ever be thinking about. There are other soft skills that we like to focus on and we talk about a lot as well. You need to be a good communicator. You need to be a good writer as well. I see a lot of students come in with poor writing skills, probably through no fault of their own necessarily. Maybe they went through a curriculum that wasn't fully developed. Maybe they went to a school that didn't emphasize this. But I think it's something that you really need to keep in the back of your mind all the time. Learning how to write is almost impossibly hard because you will never become perfect at it. As soon as you write something and you revise it and you revise it again, it's never done. It's a skill that you keep on developing throughout your career and it never stops. The same can be said for learning how to communicate more broadly in general. But these are skills that you can pick up through your classroom, activities, through different activities that you might find outside of school as well, like I did. Other skills that are really important are programming skills. Now, I took a programming class in college. I was a physics major, and I thought, programming, that's something that people talk about a lot. Maybe I should go learn something about that. I took a Java class because that's all that was offered at my school. It was not super helpful. Nobody really uses Java anymore. I mean, I learned the basic structure of like integers and, floating point numbers, but it wasn't super helpful. I didn't really remember much of it when I went to graduate school. And I remember my advisor saying, how did you not have any programming requirements as part of your physics degree? And I just didn't. That programming class was something that I just chose to do in my free time because I thought it might be helpful. And I definitely still think that was the right idea. It just so happened that my programming class was in a language and was taught in a way that didn't really help me in graduate school. But in graduate school, after I completed the requirements that were necessarily to get my master's and move on to the candidacy stage, I decided to take more programming classes at the undergraduate level, even though I was a senior graduate student. And at first I thought, this might be embarrassing. Like I'm, 24, 25, 27, something years old, taking a class with freshmen in something that I did not major in. But you got to suck up your pride a little bit. It was probably one of the better ideas that I had in graduate school, if we're being honest, because I finally learned how computer scientists think about programming and not just how physicists think about programming. Because if you know anything about physicists, physicists don't write good code. Computer scientists write much better code. So I wanted to be a physicist that learned how to write not terrible code. And I learned how to do that through taking these courses that nobody required of me, and I simply thought might help me in my career path in the future. Now, I didn't do everything perfect. I think this was a good idea. I think, I would definitely recommend doing this when you're in graduate school if you have some free time to take classes that you think might benefit you outside of your required learning. But there were classes that I probably should have taken and activities that probably would have helped me in undergrad as well. I probably should have taken an electronics class. I didn't. I probably could have taken, a data structure class. I didn't do that either. So you don't have to be perfect. I'm not saying that all of your free time needs to be dedicated to career building activities, because that's no way to live. But there are, certain things that you might naturally gravitate to just because of things that you're interested or passionate about that could help you in the future. And then there are certain things that maybe you choose to do because you think that this is really going to be a worthwhile investment, like the programming class that I took in graduate school. And all of these things combined together will create skills for you that will develop you as not just a technical world expert quantum person, but as a well-rounded person in general who is capable of good communication and good programming and all sorts of other skills as well. And these well-rounded people are the people that companies love to hire and will be able to work excellently on a team and work well with others and be able to present their work in ways that others find engaging and appealing. And I really do believe that your scientific contributions are only as good as your ability to explain it to others. So yeah, cultivating all of these skills together will make you an excellent applicant.